It's been such a hectic day for celebrity news. Stick with me because I'm gonna get into the allegations that Pamela Anderson has brought against Tim Allen, the fact that Justin Bieber sold his entire music catalog, and the insane reason that Madonna's biopic was cancelled. First off, there have been some very disturbing allegations that have surfaced about Tim Allen. In her upcoming memoir, Pamela Anderson details a disturbing incident that took place on the set of the 90s sitcom Home Improvement, when she was 23 years old and Tim was 37. Part of the book Love, Pamela has been obtained by Variety, and it was in this passage that we can hear about what really went down. Pamela wrote, "On the first day of filming, I walked out of my dressing room and Tim was in the hallway in his robe. He opened his robe and flashed me quickly, completely naked underneath. He said it was only fair because he had seen me naked. Now we're even. I laughed uncomfortably." Tim was most likely referring to Pamela's modeling for Playboy, which eventually turned the actress into an international sex symbol. Shockingly, Tim Allen responded to the allegations in his own statement to Variety. He said, "No, it never happened. I would never do such a thing." The 69-year-old actor is denying that it ever happened, but it wasn't long before fans did a little bit of digging and found a newly resurfaced clip showing him flashing another co-star in a playful blooper. The scene includes Tim and Patricia Richardson, who played Tim's wife on the show. In the video, he's dressed in a Scottish kilt and Patricia says, "Hangs long, I just wish it was shorter." Allen then lifts his kilt. The camera of course doesn't show what's underneath it, but we can pretty much guess. Patricia then spoke to TMZ about that moment and said, "People asked me what was under the kilt when he flashed me. He was well dressed under there. I was just shocked that he lifted the kilt, not by a man in boxer shorts." But clearly it's tough to compare the two instances. Tim was clearly joking with Patricia, and that moment happened in front of a live studio audience, plenty of other people around, while the incident with Pamela happened under way different circumstances. Days later, Pamela offered even more insight into the alleged incident. She told Vanity Fair that she found the whole thing surreal and uncomfortable. She said, "My book goes into it how it made me feel over the course of my life, and in this case, my career. I have no ill will towards Tim, but like the rest, it should have never happened." In her book, she reflects on the incident and wrote, "It was the first of many bizarre encounters where people felt they knew me enough to make absolute fools out of themselves. Here you go, Tim was my only line in every episode, and when they decided to expand my part, it was, here you go, Tim, have a nice day." Pamela was met with an array of supportive messages from fans after she made the claim, with many people rightfully pointing out that women weren't able to comfortably speak about such incidents happening back in the 90s. One user tweeted, "I believe Pamela Anderson. Tim Allen is a creep and always has been." Another person wrote, "The people saying why didn't she say anything at that time? It was 1991 and she was a new actress who was only known for posing for Playboy. They would have blacklisted her so fast and ripped her apart in the press. So glad she is able to tell it all now. And his career should have ended so long ago. I hope she can find peace after all of this." Of course, amongst all the Twitter noise, there was also some people coming out in defense of Tim Allen and suggesting that he did not have bad intentions if he did flash her. Someone actually wrote, "Wait, why do I feel like that was his way of making her not feel ashamed and embarrassed about the tape? It's unconventional, but I think his intentions were pure in doing that." The explosive claim is one of many in the book, which traces Pamela's rise from a small town girl from Vancouver Island to one of the most recognizable women in the world. The actress will also be addressing last year's hit Hulu series Pam and Tommy, which was highly criticized when it came out. The series delves into the infamous tape that was stolen from her home with her then husband Tommy Lee. In her memoir, Pamela will also be clearing up any mistruths that were in the series, and she'll be taking a deep dive into her relationship with the Motley Crue drummer. Even though Love, Pamela doesn't come out until January the 31st, fans have already heard another part of the book where Pamela writes that Sylvester Stallone offered her a condo and a Porsche and asked her to be his #1 girl. That's obviously pretty shocking if it's true, but Stallone's lawyer Marty Singer told Yahoo Entertainment that the claim is completely false and fabricated, and even Stallone responded by saying, "I never made any portion of that statement. It's completely untrue." Well, whatever the case, it's no surprise that Love, Pamela is shaping up to be one of the most scandalous celebrity memoirs of the year. Moving on, Justin Bieber just sold his entire music catalog. The catalog features songs from his entire 15-year recording career, and he sold that for a whopping $200 million. The 28-year-old singer sold his music rights to Hypnosis Songs Capital, so all of those nostalgic hits like Baby, Boyfriend, and Love Me now belong to the British investment and song management company. The founder of Hypnosis Song Management, Merck Mercuratis, released a statement on Tuesday about the sale. He said, "The impact of Justin Bieber on global culture over the last 14 years has truly been remarkable. This acquisition ranks among among the biggest deals ever made for an artist under the age of 70. Such is the power of this incredible catalog that has almost 82 million monthly listeners and over 30 billion streams on Spotify alone. Scooter Braun has helped him build a magnificent catalog, and it's a pleasure to welcome Justin and his incredible songs and recordings to the Hipgnosis family. Now, that's obviously a lot of songs when you think about Justin's time in the spotlight, but you can't say that he didn't get a good deal out of it, although we do know that his music will continue to be administered by Universal Music, where he has been throughout his entire career. Scooter Braun released a statement of his own, saying that Justin is truly once-in-a-generation artist that is reflected and acknowledged by the magnitude of the deal. His manager said, "For 15 years, I have been grateful to witness this journey, and today I am happy for all of those involved. Justin's greatness is just the beginning." But Justin is not the only artist rushing to cash out right now. Bob Dylan, Neil Young, Stevie Nicks, Justin Timberlake, and Sting, and many other artists have recently sold the rights to their royalties. In fact, Bruce Springsteen recently sold his music catalog for around $550 million. So why now? Why is everyone selling their music right now? Well, at the end of 2021, we saw a ton of artists scramble to sell their rights before the Biden administration allowed capital gains taxes to increase. First, we only saw older celebrities doing this, and the ones that were nearing the end of their careers. It was kind of their way of planning for what happens to their music after they die. But now younger ones like Justin Bieber have started selling too, and it looks like everyone's jumping on the bandwagon. Imagine Dragons sold their catalog to Concord Music Publishing in August, and this month Shakira struck a deal with Hipgnosis Songs for her entire catalog. But the only person who seems to be doing the complete opposite is Taylor Swift. She's actually fighting to maintain creative control. From 2006 to 2017, Taylor released 6 studio albums under Big Machine Records, and her contract was coming to an end in 2018. Her lawyers proposed that her masters be sold back to her, but Scooter Braun would only agree to that if she signed another 10-year contract with them. An agreement was never reached, and she called out Big Machine executives Scooter Braun and Scott Borchetta in a scathing social media post that said, "For years I asked, I pleaded for a chance to my own work. Instead, I was given an opportunity to sign back up to Big Machine Records and earn one album back at a time, one for every new one that I turned in. I learned about Scooter Braun's purchase of my masters, and it was announced to the world. All I could think about was the incessant manipulative bullying I've received at his hands for years." She even accused them of preventing her from performing her older songs at the 2019 AMAs. In the end, she never backed down and decided to re-record her earlier album so she could own the rights to her own masters. So obviously, every artist is different, and not all of them feel like it's the right time to sell their life's work. But hey, at least they're all getting a good paycheck out of it. And last but not least, it looks like the Madonna biopic has officially been cancelled. That's right, the project is no longer in development at Universal Pictures. Speculation over the fate of the movie began instantly after Madonna announced a career-spanning world tour last week, which sold out shows in New York, London, and Paris in just minutes. Madonna has said that her sole focus now is going to be on the tour, but she does remain committed to making a film about her life one day. The biopic was first announced in 2020, and development on the film lingered on throughout the end of 2022. Madonna was going to be directing it, and the script she wrote was set to encompass very large periods of her creative and personal life. Last June, the news came out that Emmy and Golden Globe winner Julia Garner had won the role of Madonna, but that wasn't exactly easy. In fact, it followed a grueling weeks-long competition among a group of other young actors like Florence Pugh, Alexa Demi, Odessa Young, and Bebe Rexha, who all attended singing and dancing boot camp with hopes of winning the role. The film was also set to star Uncut Gems actress Julia Fox, who was reportedly in talks to play Madonna's longtime friend Debbie Mazar. It's incredibly heartbreaking that this project has been scrapped, considering that Madonna announced back in October of 2021 that she was almost done writing the script. She made a post on Instagram saying, "Grateful for the success of Madam X that my script is almost finished, and for the support of my beautiful children." A few weeks before that, it was announced that she would be co-writing the script with Oscar-winning Juno writer Diablo Cody. Back in September of 2020, when the biopic was first confirmed, Donna said in a statement, "I want to convey this incredible journey that life has taken me on as an artist, a musician, a dancer, a human being trying to make her way in this world. The focus of the film will always be music. Music has kept me going, and art has kept me alive. There are so many untold and inspiring stories, and who better to tell it than me? It's essential to share the roller coaster ride of my life with my voice and vision." The project was going to chronicle Madonna's career, which spans almost 4 decades and has gone far beyond music, but also into things like art, movies, fashion, and charity. The singer burst onto the 1980s music scene and established herself as the queen of pop with best-selling albums like a Virgin, True Blue, and Like a Prayer. She eventually segued into a career in Hollywood, including directing and starring in a few feature films. On top of what we do know about her career, the biopic would have also given us an insight into some of the more hidden parts of her early life, like Madonna's rocky relationship with Sean Penn. The two of them first met on the set of Material Girl in 1985. Their platonic relationship quickly blossomed into a romantic one, and by August of 1985, they tied the knot on Madonna's 27th birthday. But things quickly started to get rocky, allegedly because of Sean's unpredictable outbursts and temper. The actor was said to have a major jealous streak and would fly into fits of rage whenever he saw what looked like other men getting close to Madonna. Eventually, she decided that she'd completely had enough, and she filed for divorce in December of 1987, then again in 1989. It has been rumored that she suffered many years of verbal and physical violence from Sean, and that was the main reason for their divorce. Fans have also been dying to know about Madonna's secret relationship with Tupac Shakur. The two of the biggest names in the music industry had a brief romance going on in the 90s, but as far as we know, the societal constraints of the time made it nearly impossible for them to break through the noise and explore their love for each other. The pop star has been famously tight-lipped about their romance, but she only confirmed it in March of 2015. She said that they had been an item shortly before Tupac's death, but in July of 2017, a letter that he wrote to Madonna while he was at the Clinton Correctional Facility was put on auction and sold for more than $170,000. The letter dated back to 1995, and it delves into the factors behind their breakup and Tupac's innermost feelings about her. The whole thing read like a Romeo and Juliet story, where the star-crossed lovers have been torn apart due to political tensions, and not as a result of their own decisions. It's a real shame that the biopic has been cancelled, at least for the time being. Hopefully it does get picked up again in a few years and it'll make it to the big screen. How's it going, Io? In this video we're going to explain Kylie Jenner's crazy lion head dress, give you a massive update about Alec Baldwin, and Maya Rudolph's Eminem discourse. First off, when it comes to fashion, how far is too far? Kylie Jenner has got everyone debating that question when she arrived at Paris Fashion Week wearing a lifelike lion's head on her shoulder. The thing was so real, it looked like a genuine piece of taxidermy, which obviously disturbed a lot of animal activists. Her Schiaparelli dress was made of foam, wool, and silk fake fur, and it was hand-painted to look as lifelike as possible. In fact, it looked so realistic that the brand had to release a statement about it on social media. In all caps, they posted, "No animals were harmed in making this look." But of course, Kylie still received a large amount of backlash. One user wrote, "We have to stop showing animals as luxury products. They may be made from foam, but these are endangered species that have historically been killed for their pelts to be turned into garments." Another user wrote, "No matter how you justify it to your models and celebrities, the faux animal couture is a huge problem with implications you don't understand. Even though no animals were harmed, the concept promotes wearing animals for fashion and a disgustingly out-of-touch mentality that the elite continue to suffer from." World Animal News retweeted a video of the reality star in the gown and wrote, "A disturbing video of Kylie Jenner wearing a lion head at the Schiaparelli fashion show. Although they stated it as faux, how could they possibly think this is fashion? This sends the wrong message and fuels not only the exotic fur trade, but trophy hunting." Carrie Johnson, animal rights campaigner and wife of former Prime Minister Boris Johnson, described the designs as grim, writing on her Instagram, "Real or fake, this just promotes trophy hunting. Yuck." But not everyone was raging at Kylie Jenner. In the strangest turn of events, the president of PETA, Ingrid Newkirk, actually came out praising the look. In a statement, she said, "Kylie's look celebrates lions, beauty, and maybe a statement against trophy hunting, in which lion families are torn apart to satisfy human egotism." So clearly she thought the dress was a positive thing. Kylie's look was one of a series of fake fur garments designed by Daniel Rosenberry. The collection also included a black wolf's head, modeled by Naomi Campbell, and a strapless snow leopard gown, with an equally realistic head attached to the bodice. Apparently the fashion show was inspired by Dante's Inferno and the 9 Circles of Hell. Rosenberry drew inspiration from 3 of the beasts that appear in that 14th century poem. He reimagined the leopard, the lion, and the she-wolf in the collection, which is supposed to represent lust, pride, and avarice. Now, if that sounds terrifying, it's meant to be. Rosenberry said that if the clothes are instilling fear in you, then they're doing their job. He describes his collection saying, "Inferno, Purgatorio, Paradiso. One cannot exist without the other. It is a reminder that there is no such thing as heaven without hell. There is no joy without sorrow. There is no ecstasy of creation without the torture of doubt." Sounds lovely. And guess who else got with the theme? Doja Cat looked like she crawled straight out of hell hell when she rocked up to the show with her entire face and body painted red and studded with 30,000 Swarovski crystals. Her look was called Doja's Inferno, and apparently it took more than 5 hours to apply. According to celebrity makeup artist Pat McGrath and her team of professionals, they painstakingly hand-placed each crystal onto Doja's skin. First, her hair was covered in caps, then her skin was painted red, before crystals and gold dust were applied to her body. Obviously, it was a lengthy process, but the payoff was clearly worth it. Not only did she stick to the theme of Dante's 9 circles of hell, but she looked like a life-size ruby. And of course, it wasn't long before videos of the show went viral on Twitter. Someone posted a clip of Kylie and Doja sitting in the front row with the caption, "This video is so funny. Doja Cat completely red and covered in glitter. The effing elevator music. Kylie Jenner has a giant lion head on her lap for some reason." Someone in the comments said they look straight out of the Hunger Game. Another user just wrote, "Rich people are so weird." Next up, we have a crazy update on Alec Baldwin's Rust case. Might upset a few people, but his lawyer has now confirmed that he will be keeping his role in the movie Rust, and it's about to restart production. Helena Hutchinson's husband, Matt, is also set to remain as the film's executive producer, which is a role that he took on as a part of the wrongful death lawsuit that was settled in October. The director Joel Souza will also be returning, despite the fact that he was one of the 2 people injured in the incident. Melina Spadone, the attorney for Rust Movie Productions, said that as the film proceeds, production will include on-set safety supervisors and union crew members, and they will bar any use of working weapons or any ammunition. She said that as of now, the film is still on track to be completed. As we know, after the more than year-long investigation following the October 2021 incident, Alec Baldwin was charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. His attorney, Luke Nykus, responded to the news in a statement, saying, "This decision distorts Helena Hutchinson's tragic death and represents a terrible miscarriage of justice. Mr. Baldwin had no reason to believe there was a live bullet in the firearm or anywhere on the movie set. He relied on the professionals with whom he worked, who assured him that it did not have live rounds. We will fight these charges and we will win." At the moment, people are still divided over whether or not he deserves the charges. Piers Morgan responded to the news on his talk show and described Alec as the epitome of Hollywood arrogance. Quote, "There is no doubt that it was an accident, but Helena Hutchins died, leaving behind a grief-stricken husband and a young child, and the person holding the firearm that fired a bullet and killed her was Alec Baldwin." He went on to say it was him who did that, fired a bullet into his co-worker's body and snuffed out her life. Nobody else's hands were anywhere near the weapon. Pierce also brought up Alec's 2021 interview with ABC News, where he said, "I feel that someone is responsible for what happened, and I can't say who that is, but I know it's not me." He pointed to this as evidence that the actor does not feel guilt over the incident, but not everyone feels that he's deserving of the charges. Mickey Rourke spoke out in defense of Alec and released a statement saying, "I usually never put my 2 cents in about what happens on someone's movie set. It's a terrible tragedy what happened to cinematographer Helena Hutchins, but no way in hell actor Alec Baldwin should be charged with any negligence whatsoever." This news comes on top of mounting criticism against the actor, who earlier this month took to his Instagram page to beg his followers to also follow his wife Hilaria Baldwin. And yeah, that didn't go down too well with people. The plea was apparently his birthday gift to her, and he posted 4 separate videos to his 2.5 million Instagram followers, encouraging them to do as he asked. In one clip he said, "I would like to ask you a small favor, and that is, my wife is just centimeters shy of 1 million followers on Instagram. I would like to ask you as a birthday gift, or even just a gesture to my wife, would you follow her on Instagram? I would like as many of you as possible. I would like a really great surge of people to follow my wife on Instagram and say happy birthday." As for Hilaria, she clearly approved the message and liked all of her husband's posts. Now, to be fair, there's nothing wrong with wanting to get more followers on Instagram, but with everything going on at the moment, it's no wonder the Baldwins came off as insensitive. Many fans took to the comment section complaining that the begging made them cringe. One user wrote, "Really? I'm almost embarrassed for you for even asking. How shallow." Another person wrote, "What is wrong with people? Seriously, I would be ashamed to ask for something like that. So many serious things are happening in the world, and here you are asking for more followers for your wife." But despite the backlash, Hilaria did end up reaching her goal, and they both seem pretty happy with the end result. So what do you think? Was the request inappropriate, or are people just looking for another reason to be mad? And now we have to talk about the Maya Rudolph Eminem discourse, because it's just getting ridiculous. The Mars brand released a statement yesterday saying that they're replacing their Eminem mascots with actress Maya Rudolph after they faced a ton of criticism over their new makeover. Maya is now set to star in the Eminem Super Bowl commercial, and the company has now given her the title of Chief of Fun. CEO Gabrielle Wesley told CNBC that the original colorful cast of Eminem's spokes candies are at present pursuing other personal passions. She went on to say that in the coming weeks, the company will announce what the M&M's spokes candies are up to over the next few weeks before, during and after the Super Bowl. And they will be doing this over their website and through their social media channels. As for Maya, she reacted to the news saying, "I am a lifelong lover of the candy, and I feel like it's such an honor to be asked to be part of such a legendary brand campaign. It's a very fun pairing if I do say so myself. I think little Maya would be thrilled to get to work with M&M's. But you might be wondering why the drastic change. It's true that the mascots, or spokes candies, however you like to call them, have represented the M&M's in commercials and all their marketing since 1960. They have been the face of the company for more than half a century, and they were iconic. But the company took a lot of heat early last year when they rebranded all the mascots with a new backstory, clothing and personality, all in an effort to be more inclusive. For instance, people have long criticized the green M&M for being too sexy, so the company switched out her knee-high boots for sneakers and put more emphasis on her feminist values. The orange M&M became a mascot that was riddled with anxiety, and the company added a new purple M&M, which is said to be the first female peanut M&M that was designed to represent inclusivity. But the rebrand was slammed by conservatives, like Fox News host Tucker Carlson, who said that the makeover was another example of a liberal agenda gone too far. He called them woke M&Ms and complained that the company will not be satisfied until every last cartoon character is deeply unappealing and totally androgynous. He said, "Until the moment when you wouldn't want to have a drink with any one of them. That's the goal. When you're totally turned off, we've achieved equity. They've won." Describing the new mascots, Carlson called the green M&M a lesbian and called the purple M&M obese. In fact, that last quote is so absurd that it has now become a meme on TikTok, with users questioning why Tucker Carlson wanted to be attracted to the M&Ms so badly. So it turns out that yes, there is an appropriate level of sexiness that M&M figures should display in their footwear, and America is divided over how sexy that should be. In response to the controversy, the company announced that it would take an indefinite pause from its spokes candies because they were simply too divisive for a polarized America to take. Mars posted a statement saying, "America, let's talk. In the last year, we've made some changes to our beloved spokes candies. We weren't sure if anyone would even notice, and we definitely didn't think it would break the internet. Now we get it. Even a candy's shoes can be polarizing, which was the last thing M&M's wanted since we're all about bringing people together. Therefore, we have decided to take an indefinite pause on the spokes candies. In their place, we are proud to introduce a spokesperson that America can agree on." The company went on to say that she will champion the power of fun, create a world where everyone feels like they belong. The comment section was filled with many different opinions on the change, but most people felt that the company should not be getting rid of the mascots altogether. One user wrote, "If you're actually upset about the shoes a cartoon piece of candy wears, seek help immediately." Another user tagged the company and said, "This is absolutely pathetic. You're backing down from Tucker Carlson because he was sexually confused about your candy?" So obviously the outrage has continued on. Either way, it looks like the company just can't seem to win. Alright, so much has happened over the weekend. In this video, we're going to get into why LGBTQ fans have slammed Beyonce, the reason that the new Amy Winehouse biopic is so controversial, and why the NYPD is recording anyone who went to Drake's concert. First off, Beyonce has returned to the stage for her first live performance in 5 years, which seems like it would be a good thing, but it's actually left fans divided. To give you some background, her most recent album was labeled as a celebration of queer culture and made in collaboration with some of the LGBTQ community's biggest names. It pays tribute to dance music that emerged out of that community, and also references 1800s drag ballrooms in Harlem, New York. So when the location for Beyonce's long-awaited concert was revealed, it did not sit well with some of her fans. She was reportedly paid around $25 million to perform at the star-studded private launch event for Dubai's hotel Atlantis, the Royal, on Saturday. Despite a strict no phones policy, footage of the performance has now flooded the internet, and there's no other way to say it, it looks spectacular. At one point, Beyonce was propelled 16 feet into the air in the middle of the hotel's sky blaze fountain, while it breathed fire around her. Violinists crowned with metallic gold headpieces and red skirts hit the stage first. Queen Bee was raised up on a platform wearing a yellow corseted dress topped with a feathered skirt and a feathered black piece. The performance lasted an hour and she performed 19 songs, including the first live performance of Brown Skin Girl, along with her 11-year-old daughter Blue Ivy. While many fans rejoiced at Beyoncé's return to the stage, others pointed out the hypocrisy of performing in the United Arab Emirates, where same-sex relationships are illegal and punishable by imprisonment or death. Freelance music journalist Abigail Firth spoke to the BBC Newsbeat about the controversy and pointed to the fact that Beyoncé's recent work is indebted to the LGBT culture. She said, "It seems like it's a really misguided choice from her. She's obviously a multi-millionaire already. She didn't really need to do this. She didn't really need the money." That's probably where some of the backlash is stemming from as well. Bev Jackson, co-founder of the British advocacy group LGB Alliance, spoke to The Telegraph and said that the performance casts a shadow over her support for lesbians and gay people. She said, "Beyoncé is a huge icon for many gay people. LGB Alliance is deeply disappointed that Beyoncé has agreed to give a lucrative concert in Dubai, where same-sex acts are a criminal offense, potentially punishable by death." Across the internet, it seems like fans are super divided over the performance. ID editor Douglas Greenwood posted a viral tweet saying, "No beef, but I'm struggling to understand why Beyoncé, who has $500 million, would accept $20 million to make her debut performance of the Renaissance album, a record which lifts heavily from queer culture, in Dubai, a country where LGBT rights aren't recognized." Even Kitty Scott-Claus from RuPaul's Drag Race UK made it clear that she doesn't support the decision. She tweeted, "Can someone explain why everyone was cancelling David Beckham the other month, but now celebrating Beyoncé for performing in Dubai? One rule for one and one for another." To give you some background, David Beckham received an onslaught of criticism for promoting the World Cup in Qatar, something that he was paid $241 million for. But when it comes to Beyoncé, she is far from the only megastar to have ever performed in Dubai. There's also Lady Gaga, Madonna, Elton John, and Kylie Minogue, and all of them are gay icons, so that was definitely surprising. In fact, one of the only celebrities who openly refused to follow suit was Dua Lipa. She spoke about the decision not to perform at the World Cup and posted an Instagram story where she said, "There is a lot of speculation that I will be performing at the opening ceremony of the World Cup in Qatar. I will not be performing, nor have I ever been involved in any negotiation to perform. I look forward to visiting Qatar when it has fulfilled all the human rights pledges it made when it won the right to host the World Cup." The country has also been criticized for its stance on same-sex relationships, its human rights record, and its treatment of migrant workers. In an attempt to address worldwide criticism, Qatar has made several promises in the past to investigate certain matters and to improve its record, but many people still feel that they continue to fall short time and time again. But despite the backlash, many other stars agreed to take part in the World Cup, like the Black Eyed Peas, Shakira, and Robbie Williams. So clearly there will always be singers willing to perform in those countries, and some even see it as an opportunity to promote a message of global unity. Although let's be real, at the end of the day, they're also getting a massive paycheck, and for most celebrities, that's all the reason they really need. Moving on, did you know that they're making a movie about Amy Winehouse? But now that the first pictures have been released, the reactions are not exactly positive. In fact, it's said to be one of the most controversial biopics since Blonde, as fans have accused the project of exploiting the singer's legacy and capitalizing off her trauma. Last year, it was announced that Sam Taylor Johnson would direct the Amy Winehouse biopic titled Back to Black. The project started shooting in London earlier this month. So who is going to be playing Amy? Well, you might recognize her from the hit TV series Industry. It's actress Marissa Abela, and so far we've seen pictures of her wearing the lead singer's trademark black beehive and gold hoop earrings. Other photos that were released from filming have given a glimpse at the biopic, with one scene showing Marissa transformed into Amy as she sobs hysterically while recreating her husband Blake Fildercival's arrest. Although there is some controversy over the fact that Marissa doesn't exactly look like Amy. The singer's father has come out showing his support for the actress and said that she's a great choice for the role, even if she doesn't look exactly like his late daughter. He told TMZ, "Marissa is Marissa and Amy is Amy, so it's no big deal if they aren't mirror images." He added that plenty of actors don't look like who they are playing, and that Eddie Marsan, who will play Mitch, isn't an exact match for his appearance either. So there you have it, it's pretty obvious that he approves of the project. But not everyone who knew Amy is happy about it. Ever since the announcement was made, friends of the singer have come out condemning the filmmakers for failing to consult them about her life. They claim that executives working on Back to Black have not been in touch to ask about their memories of her, and that has only raised more fears that the film will be inaccurate. Quote, "Nobody consulted us about Amy. How can it be authentic and accurate if they don't know the real Amy or the truth about what happened in her final years?" this. We are against this and we are upset. Amy was absolutely striking. One of her friends spoke to the Mail and said that they also disliked the casting of Marissa because they just don't see the resemblance to the singer. The reaction on Twitter was not much better. One user wrote, "This is not a great start. Can we please leave the deceased alone?" More often than not, these biopics are a mess and exploitative. Many fans also pointed out that they won't support the film at all because they believe it would feature Amy's suffering when she was still alive and that people should just let her rest. Another user wrote, "I feel very protective over Amy Winehouse's memory, and my gut instinct is to rebuke this biopic. I think most of her fans just wanted her to rest in peace without anyone sensationalizing or exploiting her legacy. The Amy doc is all we need." Another person wrote, "I'm frustrated and confused as to why we need this biopic about Amy Winehouse. She had such traumatic time in the spotlight, and it feels gross to capitalize off of that. Why can't we just let her rest? Remember her through her music." And to sum it up, someone tweeted, "I am going to whoever signed off on that Amy Winehouse biopic." So yes, there has been a lot of backlash, and it's only going to get more intense as production goes on. Now, here's what we do know about the movie. Back to Black will chronicle Amy's time living in London in the early 2000s, as well as her rise to fame. The film was written by Matt Greenhalgh, who wrote the script for the 2009 John Lennon biopic Nowhere Boy. So that's a good sign. Not to mention the fact that Back to Black has been authorized by the Amy Winehouse estate, whereas the 2015 documentary Amy wasn't. Director Sam Taylor Johnson said she is fully aware of the responsibility of bringing this film to life, and said that she will endeavor to create a movie that we will all love and cherish forever, just like we do with Amy. Despite it being almost 12 years since she died from alcohol poisoning at the age of 27, many people still believe that it's too early for a biopic to be made about Amy. So do you think that this movie can be made respectfully, or it shouldn't be made at all? And now let's talk about the insanity that was happening at Drake's concert. Over the weekend, he performed at the Apollo Theater in Harlem, and fans were so excited, one of them literally fell off the second floor balcony. A video posted on Twitter shows the exact moment that it happened, where you can see the guy on the left side of the camera crash into the people on the first floor. According to Insider, crew members then rushed over to the artist to let him know what was happening. Drake then stopped the show entirely to make sure those involved were okay. The lights were turned on for safety, and one light that was hanging under the balcony was knocked out of place from the incident. The production staff worked quickly to fix it, and when it was clear that everyone was alright and no one was injured, the show continued. This was on the second night of the performance, but even crazier than that incident was the fact that there was a heavy police presence outside the venue. In fact, dozens of officers could be seen videotaping everyone who exited the doors. Someone posted a video on Twitter, and people were shocked at the amount of police. Many started speculating why they were shamelessly recording everyone who came out of the concert. One user wrote, "I mean, obviously it's racism, but I guess the slightly better question is WTF is their excuse? The best question is, how do we move effectively towards defunding the NYPD ASAP?" Another person wrote, "Do they do that at Taylor Swift concerts? And maybe they're trying to build a database of people with terrible taste in music." Okay, that last tweet sounded personal, but really, I mean, what are they doing? The general consensus seems to be that the NYPD are scanning faces for AI recognition, and this of course is legal, considering that there is no law against involuntary biometric scanning. But why a Drake concert of all places? Some social media users claim that police organizations are now using facial recognition technology as a new way of keeping tabs on people, specifically people of color. This is really troubling if it's true. And if you look at the video, one of the officers recording seems to be smirking, as if they know it would make everyone feel uncomfortable. There is obviously something that's meant to be intimidating about it, but even generally speaking, no one would enjoy being recorded like that without their permission. So it's interesting to see if there will be any more instances of this happening. Apart from that controversy, Drake's concert was said to be incredible as it was a packed out theater. It paid tribute to so many of his popular songs as far back as the ones from his first album. According to TMZ, Drake was supposed to perform at the Apollo back in November, but he postponed the concert because he was mourning the death of Takeoff, who was a third member of the hip-hop trio Migos, and was killed in an incident involving firearms that same month. Drake's concert was then rescheduled for December the 6th and 7th, but that had to be pushed back because of production issues. After the performance, Drake said, "I wanted to make sure the show is about gratitude. This was a little story that we put together. My deep love for my family, my dear friends, and for each and every one of you that have been supporting me for a long time. We don't need to say how long, it's gonna make it sound like we're all getting old." He went on to say that he was grateful to be in this position and compared his run to a kind of lightning strike. Hey Io, how's it going? There is so much to get into in this video. Today we're going to talk about Selena Gomez denying dating rumors, the new details that have been released about Lisa Marie Presley's funeral, and why everyone hates the new animated series Velma. First off, Selena Gomez and Andrew Drew Taggart may be hanging out together, but it seems like she isn't looking for anything serious at the moment. She appeared to respond to the rumors that the two of them are dating by posting a black and white picture on her Instagram story with the caption, "I like being alone too much." She also added the hashtag "I am single" at the bottom, so she made it pretty clear that she hasn't jumped into a relationship again, despite what fans may think. If you don't know, Selena was recently linked to Drew Taggart from the Chainsmokers. An inside source told Us Weekly that the new couple are very casual and low-key, and they aren't trying to hide their romance by sneaking around at members-only clubs. Apparently they spent a lot of time together going bowling or to the movies, but now it seems like they are just hanging out together as friends. Interestingly enough, Drew was actually dating Steve Jobs' youngest daughter, Eve Jobs. Their relationship was said to have started as a casual summer fling, but they ended up growing closer over time, although their romance eventually fizzled out before Drew was spotted with Selena. He was also linked to Meredith Mickelson, Haley Rowe, and he was in a relationship with Chantel Jeffries for 1 year back in 2021. Now when it comes to her love life, Selena famously dated Justin Bieber on and off from 2011 through to 2018, and she was also involved in a 10-month-long romance with The Weeknd from January through to October of 2017. She's also been linked to Zedd, One Direction's Niall Horan, and Charlie Puth, but she has not dated anyone publicly in nearly 5 years, which is probably why fans were excited for the possibility of her dating again. Although to be fair, the singer has spoken out many times about how she's been comfortable on her own for quite a while, and she said that she was fine without a man in her life. She told New Magazine in 2020, "I am single and I'm totally cool with that. There are a lot of positives to being single, and it's about enjoying them when you're in that stage of life." In May last year, she opened up about her relationship status while she was hosting SNL. She said, "One reason I've been very happy to host is because I'm single, and I've heard SNL is a great place to find romance." Fans also remembered another moment in January of 2020, where she shared that she's been single for over 2 years and is perfectly happy enjoying her life. She told WSJ Magazine, "I love going to my room at the end of the day, just me and my dog. I got the full granny panties situation, stretched out in my bed. I've been single for over 2 years now and I'm okay with that." Then on her 30th birthday last year, she threw a massive party for herself and told Rolling Stone, "I thought I would be married by now, so I threw myself a wedding," which makes perfect sense. In September, beauty YouTuber Nikki Tutorials hosted a virtual interview with Selena in order to promote her new makeup line Rare Beauty. It was then that she spoke about the value that she found in being single and the meaning behind her song Boyfriend. Some fans were confused by the lyrics, which seemed to imply that she really wanted to be in a relationship. She sang the words, "I want a boyfriend, tell me are there any good ones left? I keep finding the wrong ones, but I want love again and again." From the outside, it's easy to see why people assume that she was lonely when she released the song, but apparently that wasn't exactly what she was trying to convey. Selena said, "It's just funny because I release things that say I want a boyfriend, but when people mention that, I'm like, no, I didn't really mean it though. Guys are a lot of work." In discussing the meaning behind the track, she said, "It's about falling down and getting back up time and time again in love, but also knowing that you don't need anyone other than yourself to be happy." For Selena, this realization has clearly allowed her to become more comfortable with herself and her journey as a single woman. Next up, details of Lisa Marie Presley's funeral have been released. The late singer has been buried in Graceland next to her son Benjamin Keogh, ahead of her public memorial service. Her father, Elvis Presley, and his parents, Vernon and Gladys, are also buried at that Tennessee location. Her eldest daughter, Riley Keough, has now broken her silence after her mother's passing at the age of 54. The actress posted a throwback photo from her childhood and simply added a red heart emoji in the caption on her Instagram upload. Last week, on the 12th of January, Lisa Marie Presley was rushed to the hospital for a possible cardiac arrest. When paramedics arrived, they began CPR, and when they noticed that she was showing some signs of life, she was quickly taken to a local hospital for immediate medical care. Her death was then confirmed by her mother just a few hours after she was rushed to hospital. She said, "It is with a heavy heart that I must share the devastating news that my beautiful daughter Lisa Marie has left us. She was the most passionate, strong, and loving woman I have ever known." Austin Butler, the star of the latest Elvis biopic, looked somber while attending the 2023 Critics' Choice Awards, just 3 days after her untimely death. The actor portrayed Lisa Marie's late father, Elvis Presley, in the 2022 Baz Luhrmann film Elvis. Austin released a statement saying that he was heartbroken over her sudden death. He said, "My heart is completely shattered for Riley, Finley, Harper, and Priscilla at the tragic and unexpected loss of Lisa Marie. I am eternally grateful for the time I was lucky enough to be near her bright light and will forever cherish the quiet moments that we shared. Her warmth, her love, and her authenticity will always be remembered." During his acceptance speech, Austin thanked her and her mother Priscilla for being by his side throughout his Elvis journey, which brought both women to tears. He said, "I want to thank our incredible producers and Warner Brothers and the Presley family. Thank you for opening up your hearts, your memories, your home to me. Lisa Marie, Priscilla, I love you forever." 31-year-old actor formed a strong connection with both of them ever since the production started on the biopic. For her part, Lisa Marie also had good things to say about Austin and his portrayal of her father. Recently, Tom Hanks and his wife Rita Wilson each wrote their own tribute to Lisa Marie. Tom said, "We are heartbroken over the loss of Lisa Marie Presley, absolutely broken." To give you some context, Tom played Colonel Tom Parker, Elvis's former manager in the 2022 biopic. Rita went into a bit more depth and added, "Tom and I spent some time with the family during the Elvis movie promotional tour. Lisa Marie was so honest and direct, vulnerable, in a state of anticipation about the movie. She spoke so eloquently about her father, what the movie meant to her, that it was a celebration of her dad." She went on to say that Lisa Marie had her gorgeous daughters Finley and Harper with her, who made everyone laugh. She also opened up her home to them at Graceland and made them both feel welcome. Quote, "She was so gracious to us, Austin, Baz, and guests. If you haven't heard her music, please go and listen. She has a sultry voice, a power and tenderness that I have always loved." Tom and Rita also sent condolences to Lisa Marie's family and said, "A mother should never have to lose a child. Lisa Marie lost her precious son Benjamin. Priscilla loses her only daughter. It's too much." Nicolas Cage, Lisa Marie's ex-husband, then put out his own tribute to honor her life. In a statement to The Hollywood Reporter, he said, "She had the greatest laugh of anyone I've ever met. She lit up every room and I am heartbroken. I find some solace in believing that she is reunited with her son Benjamin." So as tragic as her passing was, it's good to see that Lisa Marie has been laid to rest amongst her family members ahead of her public memorial service. And lastly, we need to talk about why everyone is hating on Mindy Kaling's version of Velma. HBO Max's new animated series has drawn tons of criticism since the release of the first 2 episodes. To give you some idea, the show currently holds a 6% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, and it has been called the most hated series on TV. The show has been labeled as a relatively mean-spirited reimagining of the Scooby-Doo gang that largely strays from the original characters that were so beloved by fans. A lot of changes were made to the characters for no apparent reason, with one of the more perplexing decisions being to remove Scooby-Doo altogether. The major disappointment from the fans comes from the fact that the creators did not stick to the precedents of the source material when adapting the series. One user on TikTok named Nicole Brennan made a viral video that sums up the flaws in the script. She said, "Velma, Daphne, Shaggy, and Fred just don't feel anything like their original characters. This is just Mindy Kaling playing the same character she always plays. There is not a crumb left of the original character's distinct personalities in Velma. There are just stereotypes on top of stereotypes." Another major point of criticism is clearly shaping up to be the quality of comedy writing. For the most part, many people don't seem to like the fact that the show tries to be too self-aware and constantly refers to tropes in other TV shows and movies as an attempt at humor. This idea of breaking the fourth wall between the characters and the audience can be very effective when it's done correctly, but in Velma it seems to be a joke that has come up way too often and doesn't work very well. The show is overtly trying to be so edgy that it goes from punchline to punchline with no build-up or payoff, and it ends up sounding like the jokes are written without the actual flow of the script in mind. But there was one joke in particular that really rubbed viewers the wrong way. In the second episode of the series, Velma makes a truly bizarre comment to Daphne. She said, "I spit the truth without a filter, like every comedian before #MeToo." That line received an immense amount of backlash, and many people felt that it was not only insensitive, but also designed almost entirely for shock value. Then there's the joke made by Velma's dad where he says that they won't hire him to even defend a gymnastics coach, referring to the infamous Larry Nassar scandal. Some people might see it as dark humor and find it funny, but a lot of people simply thought it was tasteless. Apart from the jokes falling flat, there just isn't much in the writing that reminds you of anything related to Scooby-Doo. So far, there's no real hijinks, funny jokes, or even just finding the bad guy at the end of the episode. And that's not even getting into the nudity. So much of the criticism against the show comes from its wildly inappropriate depictions of such young cast members. It's true that in Mindy Kaling's version of Velma, the characters are supposed to get into more adult situations, and their storylines will also be altered to fit into that category. However, the trouble really comes in when you consider what age the characters are supposed to be. Many viewers made it clear that they were uncomfortable with the sexual nature of the animated series, starring a cast of high school age characters. One user tweeted, "No shade against Velma, but I can't be the only person a bit weirded out at the adult animated comedies taking place in high school starring characters that are like 15. Another user wrote, "I wish more people understood that you can make something for adults without shoehorning gore and nudity into it." Not to mention the fact that every single person in the gang, Velma, Daphne, Fred, and Norville, all seem to be attracted to each other. At the end of the second episode, Velma and Daphne end up kissing, and it's likely that they will get into a relationship, which is a perfectly good storyline considering that it sticks to the source material of Velma being a queer character. But Velma also has two other possible love interests in Fred and Norville. So that's where it gets a little confusing. Overall, everyone is unanimously saying that the people behind Velma seem like they have never watched an actual episode of Scooby-Doo. But to be fair, you should really watch the series yourself and make up your own mind about it. Hey, how's it going, IO? I'm your host, Bridget Shields, and today we're going to talk about Alec Baldwin breaking his silence, the fact that Carol Baskin's husband was found, and Shakira's insane jam cheating theory. So first off, how do you feel about the fact that Alec Baldwin was charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter? Was justice really served? Because Alec doesn't think so. His attorney, Luke Nykus, responded to the news in a statement to The Independent, saying, "This decision distorts Helena Hutchins' tragic death and represents a terrible miscarriage of justice. Mr. Baldwin has no reason to believe there was a live bullet in the firearm or anywhere on the movie set. He relied on the professionals with whom he worked, who assured him that it did not have live rounds. We will fight these charges and we will win." Now it seems Hollywood is divided over whether or not Alec deserves the charges. Piers Morgan was one of the first public figures to respond to the news, and he appeared to agree with the ruling. He brought up the verdict on Piers Morgan Uncensored and said, "There was no doubt that it was an accident, but Helena Hutchins died, leaving behind a grief-stricken husband and a young child, and the person holding the firearm that fired a bullet and killed her was Alec Baldwin." He went on to say it was him who did that, who fired a bullet into his co-worker's body and snuffed out her life. Nobody else's hands were anywhere near the weapon. The 57-year-old described Alec as the epitome of Hollywood arrogance and accused him of embarking on a woeful, self-pitying PR tour that felt cynically designed to make people feel that he was just as much of a victim as the woman he killed. Pierce then brought up Alec's 2021 interview with ABC News, where he said, "I feel that someone is responsible for what happened, and I can't say who that is, but I know that it's not me." He pointed to this as evidence that the actor does not feel guilt at all over the incident. Quote, "He's repeatedly spewed indignant denial of responsibility to his millions of followers on social media and in a succession of television interviews. But not everyone feels that Alec was deserving of the charges. In fact, Mickey Rourke has already spoken out in defense of the actor and said that there is no way in hell he should face charges over the death of Helena Hutchins." He wrote a statement saying, "I usually never put my 2 cents in about what happens on someone's movie set. It's a terrible tragedy what happened to cinematographer Helena Hutchins, but no way in hell actor Alec Baldwin should be charged with any negligence whatsoever." Not only that, but the Screen Actors Guild also came out in defense of Alec Baldwin. They released a statement saying, "The prosecutor's contention that an actor has a duty to ensure the functional and mechanical operation of a firearm on a production set is wrong and uninformed. An actor's job is not to be a firearms or weapons expert." They basically said that that the performers are trained to perform and that's where their responsibility ends. Which is true, considering the fact that sets are supposed to have actual weapons experts and people who specifically oversee the safety of the cast and crew. New Mexico's first judicial district attorney, Mary Carmack-Outwy, did an interview with CNN, and she explained her reasoning for charging Alec with involuntary manslaughter. She said, "There were live rounds on set. Nobody was checking those, or at least they weren't checking them consistently. And then they somehow got loaded into a firearm and handed off to Alec Baldwin. He didn't check it. He didn't do any of the things that he was supposed to do to make sure he was safe or that anyone around him was safe. And then he pointed the weapon at Helena Hutchins and pulled the trigger." She explained that just because the incident was accidental doesn't mean that nobody could be held criminally liable. Along with Alec Baldwin, prop armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed will also be charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Both of them face a maximum of 18 months in prison if they are convicted. This is the result of a year-long investigation into the October 21st incident. The movie's assistant director Dave Halls signed a plea bargain with the DA for the charge of negligent use of a deadly weapon, and he accepted a suspended sentence and 6 months of probation. So it looks like Alec intends to fight the charges and believes that the verdict was a complete miscarriage of justice. Well, we'll just have to wait and see how that pans out in the coming months. Next up, here is a crazy bit of news that no one saw coming. Carole Baskin's husband has been found, and apparently he is alive and well. So obviously he was not fed to the tigers as many people have previously thought. It turns out that Carole Baskin's missing ex-husband, Don Lewis, has been living his best life in Costa Rica. This is obviously a huge deal because he completely vanished in 1997, which is something that we learned about in the infamous Netflix series Tiger King. After the series debuted, there was rampant speculation that Carole had been involved with Don's presumed death when he disappeared 6 years after their wedding. In fact, he was actually declared dead in 2002, but Carole was never charged with anything related to his passing. In fact, she always maintained her innocence. Last year, she went on to ITV's This Morning, where she revealed that she'd been contacted by Homeland Security to give an update on his whereabouts. She told the daytime TV hosts, "They said my husband, Don Lewis, is alive and well in Costa Rica, and yet all of this drama has been made about me having something to do with his disappearance, when Homeland Security has known where he is. I didn't think he was capable of supporting himself. He took about $1 million down to Costa Rica. I had agreed to let him do that so he could prove to himself that he could make a living." The theory that Don was secretly alive first came up in the 2021 sequel Tiger King 2. In the series, producers showed documents that are said to be from the Department of Homeland Security. They claim to describe his whereabouts in Costa Rica, but it's unclear whether those documents are real or not. Despite what she's told everyone, her husband is reportedly still legally documented as dead and has yet to come out and make a statement himself. Now, Joe Exotic has responded to the news and made a statement from prison through his attorney John Phillips. It reads, "During the filming of Tiger King, detailed efforts were made to find Don Lewis. They all failed. He is not alive. The 2021 report by Carole Baskin was another unsupported allegation. It's been republished as if it has veracity. It doesn't. The story of the Tiger King is filled with lies, setup, and misdirection. We still await a hearing for Joe's freedom. The lies and the setup are spelled out in his motion for new trial. Read it. The work is done." The Cosmopolitan article based on the ITV report is false and designed to bring more attention to Carole Baskin. Joe also commented, "No, he is not," on a Facebook article titled "Carole Baskin's Dead Husband Found Alive." So clearly he still believes that his arch nemesis killed her husband and fed him to her tigers. If you didn't know, Joe Exotic is currently serving a 21-year prison sentence for hiring a hitman to take out his rival. The events leading up to his crime were covered in Tiger King, and at the time, prosecutors said that he tried to hire 2 people to kill Carole, but one of them happened to be an undercover FBI agent. In a surprising turn of events, Joe Exotic has now called on President Joe Biden to release him from prison after he heard about the prisoner swap between America and Russia. According to audio obtained by TMZ, Joe slammed the exchange that set WNBL player Britney Griner free. He said, "The whole Britney Griner and Trevor Reed prisoner swap is a slap in every American's face that is wrongfully detained in the American federal prison, including myself." He went on to say Carole Baskin got her Big Cat Safety Act passed, now called the Tiger King Bill. "Your tiger law has passed. I'm never owning animals again. This is what it was all about. The evidence that I'm innocent is there." Back in March of 2019, the disgraced zookeeper also petitioned to have Donald Trump grant him a pardon. He released a video proclaiming his innocence and had his legal team repaint a bust with the words, "President Trump, please pardon Joe Exotic." But when he failed to receive a pardon, he completely turned on Trump and started attacking him on Twitter. He wrote, "I was too innocent and too gay to deserve a pardon from Trump. I only mattered to Don Jr. when he needed to make a comment about me to boost his social media post. So obviously nothing has really changed because Joe Exotic is still professing his innocence and bashing Carole Baskin at the same time. And last but not least, just when you thought Shakira and Gerard Piqué's breakup couldn't get any messier, rumor has it that she found out he was cheating on her thanks to a jar of jam. According to a new report from Page 6, Shakira came home from a trip one day and discovered that some of the jam in her fridge had been eaten. The reason this made her suspicious was because her husband at the time, Gerard Piqué, doesn't actually like jam. Not only that, but apparently her kids hate it too, which of course means that there had to be one other person in the house who was dipping into the jam. And apparently she made a low-key reference to this incident in the music video for her song called Te Felicito, where she opens a fridge and finds Alejandro's head on a plate. When asked about the moment in an interview on This Morning, Shakira described it as, "To find out the truth, I go into the refrigerator," which is not exactly subtle. Now Twitter is reacting to the news in the only sensible way, making memes. Someone posted a video of the singer walking around in what looks like a giant red crystal cave, and they captioned it, "Shakira inside the jam jar investigating how much was missing." Even the official Duolingo Twitter account got in on the joke, and they posted a photo of a green jar of jam with the caption, "Piqué's tears." But one user's tweet sums it up best. Risa Brown wrote, "I found my ex was cheating from a smoothie receipt in his jar. Shakira found out from a jar of jam. I don't care how crazy we look or sound, when something doesn't feel right, women will always find out." But that's not all. The internet has now found yet another reason to hate on Piqué. A clip of the football star on a Zoom interview has recently resurfaced online, and a fan noticed that Clara Chia was featured in the background of his home. This is a huge deal because when the interview was done in 2021, he and Shakira were very much still together. At the time, she was away traveling with their children, 9-year-old Milan and 7-year-old Sasha. Following the revelation, Shakira was reportedly devastated to learn that this woman clearly felt at home in the house that they shared with their children. To make matters even worse, according to several sources, Piqué's parents knew that their son was unfaithful to Shakira and they never did anything to prevent it. Even her mother-in-law allegedly treated her badly at first and insisted that she was too old for her son. Now new photos have come out of Piqué's parents walking arm in arm with Clara Chia, and they both seem very happy with their son's new partner. So of course these photos would be quite shocking, considering that Shakira's mother-in-law was the one who assured her of Piqué's fidelity. Now it looks like she has fully welcomed his new girlfriend into the family. So now we're starting to see why she put a terrifying life-size witch mannequin on her balcony and positioned it so that it faces her ex-mother-in-law's house. Not only that, but residents in her neighborhood have reported hearing her new diss track blasting at full volume from her home, so it was probably loud enough to reach the entire street. When photos of the spooky witch mannequin went viral, fans were not exactly sure how to react. Some people thought it was hilarious and labeled Shakira as a petty queen. Others thought that she was taking it way too far. But as we learn more and more about this cheating scandal, we'll come to understand how everything went down and why Shakira deserves to be angry. How's it going, IO? Bridget Shields here. Today we're going to be talking about why Kim Kardashian has been mocking British girls, why Billie Eilish has filed a restraining order, and the fact that Alec Baldwin has just been charged with involuntary manslaughter. First off, maybe the craziest news of the week is that Alec Baldwin has been charged with involuntary manslaughter. Yes, you heard that right. Alec Baldwin and prop armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed will both be charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter in the death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Both of them face a maximum of 18 months in prison if they are convicted. This is the result of a year-long investigation into the October 21st incident on the set of the movie Rust. The movie's assistant director Dave Halls signed a plea bargain with the DA for the charge of negligent use of a deadly weapon, and he accepted a suspended sentence and 6 months of probation. To give you some background, Dave Halls was the person who handed the firearm to Alec and informed the rest of the crew that it was not loaded. Andrea Reeve, the prosecutor, released a statement saying, "Any one of these 3 people, Alec Baldwin, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, or David Halls, had done their job, Helena Hutchins would still be alive today. It's that simple. The evidence clearly shows a pattern of criminal disregard for safety on the Rust film set. In New Mexico, there is no room for film sets that don't take our state's commitment to firearm safety seriously." Santa Fe's first judicial district attorney also released a statement saying, "After a thorough review of the evidence and the laws of the state of New Mexico, I have determined that there is sufficient evidence to file criminal charges against Alec Baldwin and other members of the Rust film crew. On my watch, no one is above the law, and everyone deserves justice." Back in October of 2021, the actor was involved in a terrible on-set tragedy that shook Hollywood to the core. While on the set of the Western movie Rust, Alec used a prop firearm which happened to be loaded. Cinematographer Helena Hutchins was hit. She was then airlifted to the University of New Mexico Hospital, but she later died from her injuries. Another Another victim in the tragedy was Joel Souza, who was hit in the shoulder. The 42-year-old filmmaker was taken to Christus St. Vincent Regional Medical Center via helicopter, and he was released the following day after his injury was treated. The incident seemed to be a horrible accident gone wrong, and authorities have confirmed that the firearm was discharged by Alec. Last month, he claimed in an interview with ABC that he did not pull the trigger. Sheriff Adan Mendoza told Fox News, "Whatever needs to happen to manipulate the firearm, he did that and it was in his hands." As for Alec, he tweeted, "There are no words to convey my shock and sadness regarding the tragic accident that took the life of Helena Hutchins, a wife, a mother, and deeply admired colleague of ours. I'm truly cooperating with the police investigation to address how this tragedy occurred." Now, we do know some things for sure. Both Dave Halls and Hannah Gutierrez-Reed handled the firearm before it was given to Alec for the rehearsal, where he was practicing pulling out the revolver. We know that Dave took one of the 3 prop weapons laid out on a rolling cart and handed it to Alec to film the scene. Dave then yelled out 2 words indicating that the firearm didn't have live rounds and it was safe to use. Alec then picked it up and fired it, even though he repeatedly denied pulling the trigger. He also claimed that someone put a live bullet in the firearm and that's what caused it to go off. He ended up filing a lawsuit against several of the crew members, including Hannah and Dave, alleging that they were negligent in their duties to protect everyone on set. In response, Hannah's attorney hit back and said that Alec was the only one responsible for the tragedy. Eventually, they all started pointing fingers at each other in an effort to get the blame off of themselves. Although now we know that all 3 of them unknowingly played a part in the horrific tragedy. Kim Kardashian has taken over the internet again in the worst way possible. She posted a TikTok video yesterday where she gives herself a stereotypical British schoolgirl makeover. For those of you that don't know, it's also called the Essex girl look, but some have just straight up called it a chav makeover, which usually features a lot of orange foundation, painted eyebrows, and big fake eyelashes. Kim starts off by pulling her hair up into a high top messy bun. She then goes on to her makeup, and to say it was dramatic would be an understatement. She overlines her eyebrows thickly with pencil and also applies a concealer that's way too light for her skin tone, all while aggressively chewing gum and listening to a girl singing in a British accent. Overall, the blocky brows, orange foundation that's 2 shades too dark for her skin, and concealer on her lips brings the whole look together. So you might be thinking, is Kim Kardashian specifically making fun of British girls? Well, yes, because that's what the TikTok trend is all about. People are trying to recreate the British chav look, all while lip syncing to Millie B's viral diss track M to the B. The whole idea is pretty much poking fun at a generally working class style of makeup that's a little bit over the top. But the fact that Kim Kardashian also participated in this trend just goes to show you how much it's growing. On TikTok, chavs are portrayed as young white women who dress in cheap sweats, wear patchy fake tan, and speak in an exaggerated version of estuary English, an accent that many people have associated with the British working class. On TikTok, the hashtag British Chav has over 438 million views. But obviously you don't have to dig too deep to realize that these videos are a little bit problematic. At the moment, there's quite a lot of online discourse over the fact that non-British TikTok users taking part in the trend simply don't understand the deep-seated connotations of the word. But in usual Kim Kardashian fashion, she's never really one to care about being caught up in controversy. As it stands, the post has over 27 million views and 3.7 million likes. Fans were absolutely gushing about how she nailed the look online. One user tweeted, "Kim Kardashian dressing up as a chav to Millie B is literally the wildest culture clash I didn't expect to see." Another person wrote, "Didn't have Kim Kardashian doing a 2002 British schoolgirl makeover on my 2023 bingo card, but here we are." Overall, the reaction to the video has been pretty positive, but some people actually thought that she was throwing shade at Kylie Jenner, seeing as she was using her makeup products, Kylie Cosmetics, in order to transform into a full-blown chav. So it's entirely possible that she wanted to make Kylie's brand look cheap. Kim posted the makeover video on the TikTok account that she shares with her oldest daughter North, and even though 9-year-old North didn't make an appearance in that specific video, the mother-daughter teamed up for an epic transformation earlier this month, when Kim helped North impersonate her dad Kanye West, and the resemblance was uncanny. They made a TikTok lip-syncing to his 2013 song Bound 2, and North dressed up like Kanye by pulling her hair back into a black knit cap and wearing a hoodie. She also drew on his signature goatee that he rocked more than a decade ago. For her part, Kim wore wraparound chrome sunglasses, a black tank top, and leather pants. Then the words "Bound Baby" appeared on the bottom of the screen. But not everyone was happy with North being on TikTok. In fact, it seems like it's causing some major arguments between Kim and Kanye. The rapper posted a screenshot of one of the videos to his Instagram page. He wrote, "Since this is my first divorce, course I need to know what I should do about my daughter being put on TikTok against my will. In response, Kim posted a statement of her own on her Instagram story. She said, "Kanye's constant need for attacking me in interviews and on social media is actually more hurtful than any TikTok North might create. As a parent who is the main provider and caregiver for our children, I am doing the best to protect our daughter, while also allowing her to express her creativity in the medium that she wishes with adult supervision because it brings her happiness. But if North does stay on social media, it could present a major problem down the road. We know that Kim and Kanye both share equal custody of the children, so they have to agree on certain things in order to make co-parenting work. And clearly Kanye has drawn a hard line in the sand when it comes to his children being on TikTok." Next up, why has Billie Eilish just filed a restraining order, and who is it against? Well, the reason is actually pretty horrifying. She requested a restraining order against a man who allegedly broke into her home in LA multiple times over the last month. She said that the incidents have caused her substantial anxiety, fear, and emotional distress over her safety and that of her family. On January the 5th, the LAPD arrested 39-year-old Christopher Anderson on suspicion of burglary after he attempted to break into her house by jumping over a fence to gain access to the property. According to the LA Times, the family has called police to their home on 5 separate occasions, all involving the man since last December. Over the past month, Anderson's pursuits have ranged from creepy to downright delusional. In the court documents that were filed, Billie said that he turned up unannounced and uninvited after apparently professing his love for her and expressing that he really wanted to meet her. In her own statement to the police, the 21-year-old said that she had never communicated with Anderson before, but she says that the stalking has made her feel too unsafe to return to her childhood home. She said, "I have viewed images of this individual and I can confirm I have no idea who he is, and that I have had no prior relationship or communication with him." According to her father, Patrick O'Connell, this Anderson guy has rung the doorbell asking to use the bathroom. Then he slid a phone onto their front gate, left a white flower and a handwritten note where he professed his love for her. But this is where it gets really delusional. Apparently, Anderson also claimed that Billie had been watching him and writing songs about him, so that's why he really wanted to meet her. The restraining order requests protection for her mother and father, as well as her brother Phineas O'Connell. The singer also insisted that this is not the first time an unknown individual has attempted to contact her or her family, specifically by stalking and making professions of love and threats of violence. Unfortunately, Billie has faced so many things like this over the course of her blossoming career. She even said, "I worry that someday one of these individuals will do something violent or extremely disturbing to me or one of my family members." To give you a bit of context, in 2021 she was granted a temporary restraining order after a 23-year-old man named John Matthews Hurl camped out across the street from her family home and sent her a death threat. Apparently he was perched on a fence to look into her house. And performed a throat-slitting gesture when he saw Billie. She initially obtained a temporary restraining order, but has since been able to secure a 5-year order against him. In legal documents obtained by The Blast, she said that Hurl's disturbing activity caused her emotional injury, including fear for her safety, fear for the safety of her family, and loss of her sense of peace and tranquility, and security in her home and personal space. She said, "I no longer feel safe going outside my home and enjoying basic physical exercise in my neighborhood. He could attempt to approach and hurt me. Every time I see him, I just want to scream." When Billie was granted a temporary restraining order against a trespasser by the name of Pernell Rousseau, who visited her home 7 times. This came from an unwelcomed address leak, and so eventually her family's home had to be blurred on Google Street View to prevent a similar incident happening again. That same year, she spoke about the stalking incident to Rolling Stone and said, "It was really traumatizing. I completely don't feel safe in my house anymore, which sucks. I love my house. I've loved attention all my life, but I don't think anyone knows what fame actually is. The truth is that celebrities, particularly young women, have long been subjected to stalking and other dangerous behavior from crazy fans, which ends up stripping them of both their privacy and any notion that they have of safety." So let's just hope that these so-called fans eventually get the hint and keep the stalking to social media.